A review of literature is a systematic examination of existing scholarly work, theories, and research related to a specific topic. It plays a crucial role in the research process by providing context, highlighting gaps in existing knowledge, and establishing the significance of the study. For example, if you're researching the effects of technology on education, the literature review would examine previous studies on trends in technology integration, challenges faced by teachers, and its impact on learning outcomes. This helps frame your study within the broader academic field and justifies its relevance. The review also identifies gaps in prior research that your study can address. For instance, if most studies focus on urban schools, your research might explore rural schools to fill that gap. It also connects your study to theoretical frameworks, such as the diffusion of innovations theory or the TPACK model, to provide a foundation for understanding your findings. Typically, a literature review synthesizes sources like journal articles, books, and credible reports, showcasing the researcher's grasp of the field and how their study contributes to advancing knowledge. On the other hand, a study is the actual investigation conducted to answer specific research questions or test hypotheses. It involves the collection and analysis of primary data. For instance, in a study on technology in education, you might use surveys or classroom observations to collect data about how students engage with digital tools. The study's design, whether qualitative, quantitative, or mixed methods, depends on the research objectives. After collecting data, you analyze and interpret it to generate new insights or validate existing theories. While both the literature review and the study are essential components of research, they serve different purposes. The literature review focuses on synthesizing existing knowledge to frame the research, while the study generates original data to address identified gaps. For example, if your literature review highlights limited research on virtual reality in science education, your study might explore this area by designing an experiment to measure its effectiveness in classrooms. Together, these components ensure that the research process is thorough, grounded in existing knowledge, and contributes something new to the field. By understanding their roles, researchers can produce impactful and meaningful studies. A review of literature is a critical component of research that synthesizes and evaluates existing studies on a particular topic. There are different kinds of literature reviews, each serving a specific purpose in organizing and analyzing research. Let's discuss the most common types. A narrative review provides a comprehensive overview of a topic by summarizing and discussing existing literature. It is often descriptive and highlights trends, key findings, and gaps in the field. This type of review is particularly useful for gaining a broad understanding of a subject. However, it may lack the rigor of systematic reviews because it is not always structured or focused on a specific question. For example, a narrative review on technology in education might cover a wide range of studies on digital tools, their benefits, and challenges across different contexts. A systematic review is a highly structured approach to reviewing literature. It follows a well-defined methodology to identify, evaluate, and synthesize studies on a specific research question. Researchers use criteria for selecting studies, ensuring the review is transparent and replicable. This type of review is particularly common in fields like medicine and education, where evidence-based practices are essential. For instance, a systematic review might focus on the effectiveness of online learning platforms in improving student performance by analyzing only studies with specific methodologies, such as randomized controlled trials. A meta-analysis is a type of systematic review that combines quantitative data from multiple studies to produce a statistical summary of findings. It is ideal for assessing the overall effect size of a specific intervention or variable. For example, in education, a meta-analysis might examine the impact of technology on student engagement by pooling results from numerous studies. This type of review provides strong evidence due to its reliance on statistical analysis. A scoping review explores the breadth and scope of research on a particular topic. Unlike systematic reviews, it does not focus on a specific question but instead identifies gaps in the literature and areas for future research. For example, a scoping review on the integration of artificial intelligence in education might map out the range of AI tools used and the challenges associated with their adoption. This type of review is helpful for identifying unexplored areas and refining research objectives. A theoretical review examines the theories and conceptual frameworks used in a particular field of study. It evaluates how theories have been applied and identifies gaps or inconsistencies. For example, in education, a theoretical review might explore how the TAC framework has been used to study teachers' use of technology. This type of review is particularly useful for studies seeking to develop or refine theoretical models. A critical review provides a detailed critique of the literature, assessing the strengths and weaknesses of existing studies. It goes beyond summarizing findings by questioning methodologies, biases, and interpretations. For instance, a critical review of research on gamified learning might highlight limitations in sample sizes or biases in measuring student motivation. This type of review is essential for advancing knowledge by addressing gaps and inconsistencies. An integrative review synthesizes both quantitative and qualitative research to provide a comprehensive understanding of a topic. It is particularly valuable in interdisciplinary studies. For example, an integrative review might combine findings on the psychological and technical aspects of technology use in classrooms. This type of review provides a holistic view by merging diverse perspectives. In summary, the type of review of literature you choose depends on your research objectives and the nature of your study. Whether it's a broad narrative review, a focused systematic review, or a statistically driven meta-analysis, each type serves a unique purpose in synthesizing and advancing knowledge. By selecting the appropriate kind of review, researchers can provide a solid foundation for their study and ensure that it contributes meaningfully to their field. In research, related studies refer to previous research works that are similar to the current study or share common themes, objectives, or methodologies. Understanding the kinds of related studies helps frame the context for new research by showing how it builds on or diverges from previous work. Empirical studies are based on the observation or experience of real-world phenomena. They involve the collection and analysis of data through experiments, surveys, case studies, or observations. These studies provide direct evidence regarding a particular topic. For example, an empirical study might examine the effectiveness of a specific teaching method in improving student learning outcomes. In this case, the study's findings are based on first-hand data collection and analysis. Theoretical studies, unlike empirical studies, do not focus on data collection but instead develop or refine theories and conceptual frameworks. These studies aim to explain or predict phenomena based on existing knowledge. For instance, a theoretical study in education might explore how a specific learning theory, such as constructivism, can be applied to digital learning environments. Theoretical studies often serve as the foundation for subsequent empirical studies. Descriptive studies aim to describe characteristics of a phenomenon or the relationships between variables without manipulating them. They often involve surveys, case studies, or observational research to collect data. These studies are valuable in providing a comprehensive overview of a particular topic or group. For example, a descriptive study might survey teachers to identify the frequency and types of technology used in classrooms. These studies are useful for establishing patterns or trends. Correlational studies investigate the relationship between two or more variables to determine if a connection exists. However, they do not establish causation. These studies are useful for identifying trends or predicting outcomes based on certain factors. For example, a correlational study might examine whether there is a relationship between parental involvement in education and student academic performance. While they can show if a relationship exists, they do not prove that one factor causes the other. Experimental studies are research designs that test cause-and-effect relationships by manipulating one or more variables to observe their effects on other variables. These studies are highly controlled and are often conducted in laboratory settings. For example, an experimental study might test how a new educational app affects students' engagement by comparing a group of students using the app to a group that does not. Experimental studies are valuable for establishing causality.